What I see online a lot is virtual assistants saying that they can help with any task. Let me lighten the load for you, etc., etc. So how they would explain what they do is by taking tasks off the client's plate. But I don't think that this is the right way to think about the job of a virtual assistant. If that is how you are approaching your marketing and how you are talking to potential clients, that is going to leave you underpaid, overworked, and ultimately replaceable. Because the truth is, being a task doer, being somebody that just gets given work and does it, is the easiest thing to replace. And I think that's why so many VAs just feel stuck in doing hourly work, working for multiple clients in different niches, different industries and things like that, and why they don't feel like they are able to earn the money that they want to earn, work with the clients that they want to work with, and actually get that job satisfaction and fulfillment. When I started working as a VA, this is exactly what I did, and I do think that it is what everybody does when they first start their virtual assistant business. They just work with clients and get given tasks and they do them, and they get more tasks and they do them, and they get better at those tasks and then they earn less money and things like that. But this just keeps you stuck. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how we can turn this around, how we can create a successful virtual assistant business working for dream clients and getting paid what we need and deserve and all the things. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Kim, and I help virtual assistants go from admin support to strategic partners working for their clients. So that's exactly what today's video is about, how to go from a task doer to a strategic partner. Now, a strategic partner is somebody who comes into the business and offers more than just admin support. You are going in there as a partner to the business owner. So I just want to kind of put on screen the difference between a task doer and a strategic partner. So when you are a task doer, you wait to be told what to do. You focus on completing individual tasks and work inside whatever systems already exist. You often inherit messy processes and are reactive rather than proactive. And for a strategic partner, you understand how the business actually runs. You look at the bigger picture, not just individual tasks. You identify what isn't working and you help improve processes over time, guide the client, and you don't just follow instructions. So that is the difference between a task doer and a strategic partner. Now, can you see what you would pay more for? Somebody who just does what they're told, great, or somebody who is actually going to help the business improve? I would definitely want someone in my business who is going to help the business improve. Somebody I can rely on, somebody who I can bounce ideas off of, somebody who can introduce new things to my business to make it work smarter, more efficiently, or more automated, and ultimately give the clients, as in the client's clients, a better experience of the business. In 2020, I started doing online setups for therapists in private practice. So I would take their business and whatever it was and put it onto a platform. So we used EHRs, which are electronic health record systems. And my system that I chose was Power Diary at the time. It's now called Xander. And we put their processes and their business onto the system. So I made it online. And what I did is I worked through their client journey. So I established that all private practices have a client journey. And I kind of thought up this system of when a client comes into the practice, so all the way from inquiry all the way to offboarding, I mapped out the processes from that to that. And you can do this with any industry that you are working in as well. And then we worked out the processes for each one. So I didn't just say, okay, what are you doing now? Let's put that on the system. I actually looked at how we could improve each of these different areas for the therapist. And what this particular therapist said to me is that she has seen the greatest retention rate of clients since I started working with her. Now, this isn't because she magically had a virtual assistant that, answered for clients quicker and things like that. I'm sure that helped as well. But it was because we established proper onboarding procedures. We streamlined all of our forms and our appointment reminders and things like that. So it's really easy for the client to work with the therapist. There was no ambiguity. There was no, oh, I forgot I had that appointment. Oh, I didn't know I owed you money. All that kind of stuff that comes with running a therapy practice. We streamlined all of this and we made it really simple to work with the therapist, and then she saw a higher retention rate of clients, which meant that she didn't have to keep taking on new clients and finding new clients and wasting time on marketing and things like that. That's what you want to do. You want to go into the business and improve it. You don't just want to take the stuff they're doing and do it, quicker, possibly better, but you're not going to actually improve it. You're just going to do what they do a bit better and a bit quicker. So a strategic partner doesn't say, what do you want me to do next? They're thinking, how can I do this better? How can I improve this particular task that needs doing? Ultimately, if you just go in as a task doer, you are going to be much more easily replaceable, and the client won't see the value in you as much. So they're going to compare you on price. So basically, if they interview maybe 3 VAs and you all are just task doers and you're like, yeah, I can help you, and you don't give them any feedback, you don't say, oh, we could do this and we could do that. They don't see the value. They're just going to say, okay, well, I've got these 3 VAs and this one's £35 an hour, this one's 30 and this one's 25. Oh, I might as well go for the mid-range one. They're probably going to be able to do a good enough job. You don't want to be compared on price. You want to go in and show them your expertise. That is 100% where everything turned around for me. And I really do kind of thank the pandemic for that, because therapists needed to get their practice online. A lot of the therapists I started working for, they had hand printed forms, clients used to fill them out, and they needed a way to be able to get paperwork to their clients and send them appointment reminders and online links. And lots of them didn't know how to do that. So my services were just at the right place at the right time. And I created this business of helping them get their practices online. And so I offered more of a service than just saying, I can send paperwork out for you in the post, I can take this long, laborious task and do it for you. I, as a person, cannot work like that. Whenever I look at a client's business, I always want to improve it, because I hate doing monotonous, boring, laborious tasks. So it was in my interest to do it better and quicker, because I would get bored otherwise. But actually, what I found is that I created a system that I could take all of my clients through. And then I just got really good with boundaries of saying, if you don't work with this system or you're not prepared to move to the system, I'm not the VA for you. And that has really worked in my favor and helped me grow an agency and create a VA licensing program to help other VAs learn to do what I do. So the real differentiator here is from being that task doer to becoming a strategic partner and being able to bring a unique offering to potential clients. The VAs who become in demand and get referrals and people reaching out to them are the ones that have this unique offer, the ones that know who they work with, they understand the business inside and out, sometimes better than the client themselves, because if you think about it, they only know their own private practice, their own plumbing business, their own hairdressers, whatever it is that they work in. Whereas you, as the strategic partner VA, understands the business from all different people. And so you can collectively know how to improve private practices by working with multiple therapists or hairdressers or plumbers. So you are in a unique position to bring that knowledge and expertise that they wouldn't have themselves. Understanding the industry you work in is so important. You want to understand the laws around it, the jargon and terminology, important things. So with therapists, it's really important around confidentiality and things like that, and understanding the guidelines around privacy and around how long you need to keep records for. So if you know that information, it can be really helpful, because the therapist then knows, like, I don't have to teach this to somebody. I don't need to tell someone to go and get an ICO certificate. I don't need to go and tell someone to research GDPR or research, medical insurance providers and things like that. So if you know this information and can bring it to the therapist, that means that's less training for them to do, and they feel so much more confident in handing over the work to you. The other thing you really want to understand is the client journey. So not your client, but their client. So again, I'm using therapists in private practice as an example, but you want to understand the client's journey. So for therapists, it starts off as an inquiry, then you're going to onboard the client, and then they're going to have their regular bookings, their invoicing. There's going to be client notes, there's going to be reports, there's going to be communication, and there's going to be offboarding. So once they finish working with the therapist. So being able to outline the client journey and understand every part of it. Now, of course, there are going to be differences between therapists or between plumbers or hairdressers. They're the ones I use as examples, but there are going to be slight differences. But the actual client journey is very, very similar for every single therapist in private practice. So it's really important to understand that and be able to articulate and show your client that. They might not even have thought about it that way. So you bringing that to their attention is going to just be like chef's kiss, whatever. Like, they're going to be so happy with you when they have a discovery call and you bring this information to them. They're going to be blown away by your offer. It's also really important to understand what systems are used within the industry. So of course, there are many EHRs. There is Xander, there's WriteUp, there's Simple Practice. Well, I actually don't know all of them because I did my research a few years ago and I made my choice and I absolutely love it and have no regrets. And I believe that with Xander, they have continuously improved the system and they work with their clients to get the system exactly how people want it. And so I've never had to deviate away from them. I just absolutely love everything about Xander. So understanding what systems are commonly used within your industry can be really helpful, and then making sure you do training on that, making sure you understand the systems inside and out so that you can set them up. So if a client doesn't currently use that particular system, you can say, hey, if we use this system, it's going to help you in XYZ area. I can do that for you. Let me set it up for you. And then we can create all the processes around the system. And that's going to be really helpful. It also helps you get an overview of the practice or the business before you start working in it. And again, this builds trust and just really helps you to understand how the business runs before you even start working in it. Finally, I would say a great thing to understand is common mistakes that people make in that industry. So lots of therapists in private practice, for example, don't send invoices to their clients. They don't keep a record of who's paid what and what's missing and things like that. Maybe they do in a book, but they don't have a system for that. That is very common even today in 2026. So understanding the pitfalls of that and saying how do you know if your client's overpaid or underpaid? You are spending so much time checking your bank account constantly. There's different ways that we can do this. So understanding common mistakes within the business and being able to ask those questions in discovery calls can really help, one, them feel confident that you know, oh my God, she already knows or he already knows that I'm not doing this. And so she's going to have a great way of being able to improve this for me. But also it just helps you convey your experience and also for you to know what to look out for. So if you do start working with a client and you maybe haven't necessarily asked them all the questions in terms of what potentially they are doing wrong, you know to look out for that, to ask those questions when you're onboarding them, or to just at least check it for yourself. How are they doing this? How are they doing that? And being able to kind of say, okay, I've noticed this, I've noticed that, and just kind of gently asking those questions with your client so that you can create all these processes for them rather than just repeating the shit that they are doing, basically. You don't want to do that. You don't want to come in and just be like, okay, this isn't done how I think it should be done, but I'm just going to do it because that's the way they want it done. Lots of clients can be stubborn or just nervous about making changes, but if they are confident in you, they will let you do the changes. But you need to have that confidence. You need to instill that confidence in them. So let's talk about how you can make the shift from a task doer to a strategic partner. The first thing you want to do is really look at all of your clients and decide who it is you want to work with. I would say you need to niche down a bit. So you might be working with therapists and plumbers and hairdressers, right? But if you think about it, okay, where are most of my clients? So maybe they're hairdressers. Okay, do I like working with them? Is it something that I would like to continue to do? Does this type of client resonate with me? So you want to look at that first. Once you've decided who it is you want to work with, you don't need to get rid of the other clients at this stage. You probably will eventually, but we're not talking about, getting rid of clients at the moment. What you want to do is go all in on the clients that you want to work with. Understand all of the things I have mentioned. Understand the legal stuff, the guidelines, all that kind of stuff, the jargon. Understand the systems they use, understand the client journey. Do some research and really go hard at learning all of that stuff. That is number one, how you become a strategic partner, because you need to understand it before you can do it, right? Next thing you want to do is have some unique offer that you can bring to the market. So for me, before we start working with any clients, we have to do something called an online setup, or we would do a private practice workflow call with them, which takes them through the client journey. So I would say to them, right, we need to have a 90-minute meeting, and I'm going to go through every single procedure and see how you do it. And then I'm going to give you advice on how we can do this better, systems we can set up and things like that. I will not work with anybody unless they are on Google Workspace or Xander. They have to work with one of those two systems. If they don't want to work with those systems, I will find someone else for them. There are plenty of VAs that work on write-up and all that kind of stuff, but I will not work with them. So if they already have them, that's fine. We'll do a checkup. We will do the private practice workflow. And if they don't have them, we will set it up for them. But we do that before we start working with them. It's such a great way to understand the business top to bottom. I did this, but top to bottom. And for me personally, I think it's great to be able to just go from one system to the next system, which is the same, rather than trying to remember, oh, in write-up, this is how we do invoicing. And in Xander, this is how we do invoicing. And in this system, this is how we do this. If we just have one or two systems, your brain doesn't have to do that overthinking. You can just click from one client to another and know exactly what you're doing. I just find it's so much better for me as a VA, for my team when I'm training them, and for the therapist as well, because we're not wasting time overthinking stuff that doesn't need to be thought about. So you want to bring some unique offer to your clients. It doesn't have to be, what I've suggested, but you want to have some unique offer that you will bring to the client and the way you're going to work with them. Once you do these two things, and once you understand your client journey, you will be able to go in as that strategic partner. You'll be able to make recommendations. You'll be able to automate and streamline stuff. And you will go in as that kind of equal in terms of them trusting you with ideas they have and other things that they might want to do that they want to kind of run past you. Clients I have now who want to branch out into other things will ask me questions like, how can I start a mailing list? Or do you think I should start a group practice? Or whatever, how they want to grow. And they actually check in with me and say, do you think I can do this? Like, can we do this together? And I love that. I love that when they're thinking of doing stuff, they're bringing me in to say, how can we do this? Can you help me get this off the ground? Can you help me do the logistics of this? I have clients that have all the ideas and it's like, make this work. And I'm like, okay, I will run with it and I will make this work. So that can be really fun too, because it means it can open you up. You've got your ideal client and you do your day-to-day work with them, but it can also open you up to more possibilities, learning more things, and just growing as a person. Okay, so hopefully I have demonstrated all of the benefits of being a strategic partner versus a task doer. I can bullet point, the benefits in terms of being able to charge more money, just getting more job satisfaction, not doing those monotonous tasks and not feeling like you're waiting for tasks to come on your lap. You know what you're going to do each day. I love going into each day knowing this is what I'm working on today, rather than check emails, check in with therapists and see what I need to do today. Like that doesn't bring me joy, and I don't think it brings many people joy. I know some people love having that like task list of things to do, which is totally fine, and they like having the repetitive tasks of like, this is what I do daily, this is what I do weekly, this is what I do monthly. You can have all that, but also be in charge of what you're doing as well. So if you are currently a VA and you are stuck at the moment and you really want to learn how to become a strategic partner, I do have a free masterclass or workshop which is called How to Go from an Overlooked VA to an In-Demand Specialist. So I'm going to put the link on screen. You can scan the QR code. I'm going to put it in the description below as well. It's completely free. It's under 30 minutes. I do talk quite fast, so you can slow me down if needed. But that is going to really help you decide and understand how to choose a niche, how to position yourself as that in-demand specialist and attract better clients so that you can get consistent income. So if you'd like to check that out, you are welcome to. And until next time, thanks so much for watching.